All right, let's tackle this from Bart Willoughby since it's on the screen. No way SC could keep up with DTR, Charbonnet, and Bobo. Mr. Grinch has no answers. Well, Eric Gentry's an answer, but we just need him to get him healthy and get him back in rhythm. And we need Raylan Goforth to get back in rhythm and get healthy. If USC has its regular starting linebackers, like USC would have more of a chance. But of course, yeah, if Eric Gentry's not available against UCLA, that's a crusher. Like if we get to that November 19th game and Eric Gentry's not on that field, that makes a huge difference. In terms of what USC's defense needs to do, well, I've kind of already alluded to it. Like I'm not expecting USC to hold UCLA under 35 points, but in a game like this, first one to 50 could be the winner. So if you told me right now, Bart, and everyone else watching here on the Voice of College Football, if you told me right now UCLA scores 37 points against USC, who do you think's winning that game? I will comfortably take USC if you tell me right now the Trojans will allow the same 37 points that they gave up to Arizona. So like if you allow 37 points to a team, it's not as though you had an answer. It's not as though you figured out the opponent. It means that you got a few stops in the red zone, 37, like we can do the math there, 4 touchdowns, 3 field goals, that you forced enough non-touchdown possessions. You forced a few field goals in the red zone. Maybe you came up with 1 interception as USC got from Bryson Shaw. A lot of Trojan fans have wondered, where's Bryson Shaw? Where's Bryson Shaw? He stepped up. He had 7 tackles, a pass breakup, and a pick. Finally healthy. His dad tweeted during the week leading up to the Arizona game, he's finally healthy. So he makes a real impact. If USC has Bryson Shaw on the field and Eric Gentry and Raylan Goforth, that's a defense that can hold UCLA to 37 points. That doesn't mean the defense is going to, become rock stars all of a sudden. I'm not expecting that. I never have. But if you can just hold UCLA under 40, it's going to be good enough. So Mr. Grinch, he's had a lot of answers this season. He needs Eric Gentry on the field. But the thing is, this has been the theme with USC throughout 2022, throughout the offseason, carrying into the regular season. The defense doesn't have to wear a cape. It just has to be good enough. And really, with a lot of bodies unavailable, it was good enough against Arizona. So people are going to lament how weak the defense generally was, but it made that handful of plays, bend, don't break. That's just the way it's going to be against a really good offensive team. So that just has to be the framework for this game against UCLA. Now, if you allow 49, 52, yeah, that's a disaster and an almost certain loss. But hey, if we give up 37 to UCLA, I am extremely confident that USC is going to get at least 38.
Matt, we're looking at a Pac-12 from top to bottom, and specifically more the important portion of the conference from 1 through 4 or 5. That's as good as, how far would you go back? Would it have to be the salad days of Stanford, Oregon 10 years ago to go back to a Pac-12 that was this capable, this deep?
Yeah, I think 2014 emerges as a year when you really had some quality depth in the Pac-12. Like Arizona State was a decent team that year, and UCLA was a decent team that year. Stanford, Oregon, and then Arizona. That year, Stanford won at UCLA late in the season. We were really looking forward. We in the Pac-12 were looking forward to a UCLA Oregon Pac-12 championship game that year. UCLA looked like the main contender to Oregon for much of that particular Pac-12 season. But Stanford, which has been UCLA's nemesis, mostly wasn't the case this weekend, but mostly, David Shaw was a real pain in the butt for Jim Mora Jr. And that 2014 loss, Mark, was really a game that UCLA hasn't recovered from until this year. Like it really took UCLA 8 years to regroup from that particular loss. But the larger point stands that 2014, I think, is a year when, the Pac-12 really had some serious chops. You could also say 2016 because of Colorado under Mike McIntyre and then Sam Darnold with USC and the Washington team that went to the college football playoff. But I think that there was a little bit more depth in 2014. Like the Stanford team that did beat UCLA, I think finished 7-5 in the regular season. And it wasn't one of David Shaw's better teams. You know, it was like the one team in that 5-year period that kind of slipped through the cracks, didn't really achieve well, but it was still a pretty tough team. So yeah, I would say 2014 has the most quality depth in the Pac-12. You know, this year really recalls 2014 in terms of like the most recent year on that score.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that football fans wanted to see Jim Moore's best team take on Oregon that season in a Pac-12 championship game, because Arizona just wasn't up to it. That was a disaster. That was one of many early Pac-12 championship games that was just a no-go in regards to being competitive. And Arizona then also placed in the Fiesta Bowl and lost to Boise State that year. But a deep Pac-12 at that point for sure. And we see as many ranked Pac-12 teams at this stage in the season as SEC teams right now.